All right, we're back with chapter 3, kind of finishing off the program here. I didn't want to spend a lot of time going over kind of repetitive code here, but the cosine right here is done very similar to the tangent calculation. So I just basically typed out the same code. I should go back in here and document that, but I just didn't have time. Same thing for the sine as well. Now pi, it's not very complicated because pi is it's kind of a constant, although it never seems to end. But the class called math, we have a method here called pi, and then we're going to convert it to a string. So we can do all this at once and then output the results. So that's kind of a clever way to do pi. Now the clear button, and this again is kind of that user experience, cleaning up our stuff. I've gone through every single user control and decided whether or not we should clean it out when we clear, or if we should add in zeros when they need be. The only thing, and at the very end, I also told the user they go back to the beginning of the program. So therefore, when I run the program and I'm looking and I'm marking yours, I'll definitely go in here and I'll be testing it kind of like this. Does it work? Yes. Does the day of the week? So let's go Monday, Jan 1, 20, right? And then enter. The hours, same idea. We've done all of these already. So it looks like they all work. Good. Yes. And then accumulate. Yep. And then let's type in tan, cosine. Yeah, so they all work. Now I will go back in and I'll try to break it. So I'll go back in here and say, did this come up with a handle? Yes, it did. Cleaned it out. Did this work? Yes, it did. Did this one work? I'll type in 10. Yes, it did. And then 10 here. And no, it didn't. That one crashed. So that example is because we forgot in our code to put in a try catch block in here. So my point is you need to go through your code and look very carefully and just repetitively go through that programming cycle over and over and over and check for these types of things. Again, I didn't do it here in any of the trigonometry questions, put in a try catch, but they should all be done in that area. So when you're doing your assignments, make sure that that's there, because if I catch that kind of an error, I mark down for it quite heavily, because you just haven't gone through the cycle properly. So definitely do that. Also go through and document. So I'll be looking through your code. Did you document what your code is doing? And try to be consistent. I mean, I say declare the variables. Here I say declare, and then up here I say declare, and then at the top I say declare variables. Again, try to be consistent when you're doing that. Also write out, something that clears the form for the next iteration, and it applies to all of this code. So you don't have to write for every single line. Sometimes if it's just one line of code and you want to explain it, you can put it on the same line. That's another good strategy for documenting your code. All right, so as you go through your code, you can see it just starts to build and build and build. Little technique here for kind of cleaning code. There's a little collapse controls on all these. And this is something I do when I'm writing code to keep things organized, is I break them down like this. And that helps organize controls when I'm editing and I'm going back through that programming cycle and I'm modifying and tuning and tweaking. You are going to be marked quite heavily for clean, organized code. So spend the time on it, because I think it's worth 25% for documentation, and your coding standards are I think 30% of your mark for your assignments. So go through those very, very carefully. All right, so that's the end of that. And one of the last videos here is to sort of clean up the user interface before we send it off for marking, I guess, or send it off to the client.